18 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant check. Negative K, nothing further. Negative Sergeant check. 18 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant check. Negative K, nothing further. Just city camp in the corner. 18 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant check.
We've got a code 187.
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and as hard as these stories are to talk about, the more important that they are to raise awareness around what can happen and also how to prevent it.
Some of my content has mention of extreme violence, sexual assault, and/or other triggering content. Discretion is advised.
Hi guys, welcome back to Code 187. I am so glad that you are here. There's still stuff going on in the world, so I am here to talk about it. So today's video, I will say there's a huge trigger warning for. This does involve a child, and it is very, very bad. If you have any triggering emotion to child abuse, skip this video or skip to the second half of this video. The second half talks about prevention and how we can stop child abuse. But the first part of this video is very, very triggering. I will not be offended if you decide to skip the whole video. Do whatever you are emotionally prepared for. I don't like talking about child abuse. It is not one of my favorite things to do, for sure, but it is very, very important. This case could have been avoided. He could have still been alive. So I think it's very, very important that we talk about the steps on how to prevent this from happening. And so let me tell you a little bit about today's person, and that is Adrian. I also apologize, my voice is leaving me as we speak, but I am trying to get through this case to bring it to you guys. So let me tell you about Adrian Jones. He was born to Michael Jones and Deanna and lived with his biological mother in Lawrence, Kansas for the first few years of his life. He had a great life there, surrounded by family and love. Family pointed out that he had the most beautiful smile, which you can see in all the pictures of Adrian, and he also loved football. In 2012, he was found unattended one day and was removed from his mother's custody. The Kansas Department of Children and Families removed the kids from their biological mother's home. Because the father wanted Adrian, he was awarded full custody. So Adrian moved to a town in Missouri with his father. His father married Heather Jones, and they lived together with 7 children between the ages of 2 and 11, including Adrian. From there, we kind of have to piece together what happened by what the quote-unquote parents tell us, and also what was found. On November 25th, 2015, Heather Jones called the police to report an incident of domestic disturbance. Heather claimed that her husband had tried to shoot her. The police began to investigate this as a domestic violence case, but they ended up finding a lot more than what they thought. They realized that one of the children, 7-year-old Adrian, was missing. As they began their search of the home, they found horrible living conditions. The house was filthy and pretty much full to the brim of garbage. The 6 children who lived in the house were removed immediately from the house and taken into protective custody. Unfortunately, they found the body of 7-year-old Adrian in a livestock pen in the backyard. When they took the father and the stepmother in, they were not talking, but soon they would make a mistake that would help uncover one of the biggest and worst child abuse cases in U.S. history. Heather asked her landlady to save pictures of her children from her Apple iCloud account. When this landlady logged on, she discovered horrible images of Adrian. Images that showed what had happened to Adrian in the months leading up to his death. The couple also set surveillance footage around the house, and that captured all the abuse that Adrian had to go through. The timestamps and the surveillance footage show Adrian was abused over the course of 9 months. It is unknown how it escalated this far, but this couple put this young boy through torture. This is where I'm going to start talking about the abuse, just so you know. The abuse begins with Adrian being forced to stand for hours with his hands in the air, sometimes inside and sometimes outside, in all different temperatures. Several photos show the 7-year-old strapped to a table and blindfolded. In some photos, Adrian was strapped with cutting boards to the front and the back of him, which forced him to stand up straight. Michael and Heather did not call him by his name. They called him the boy. His ankles had been bent out of shape by the blows he suffered to his body. There was a video in which Adrian was repeatedly punched in the face with a broomstick. Now, I am sure that your stomach is turning just as much as mine was when I first read this, as well as right now. But to be honest, these parents were not quiet about this abuse that was happening. The stepmother, Heather, posted about Walking Dead's Look at the Pretty Flowers and stated that she was about to pull that. She shared that post on Christmas Day 2014. Jokingly, a few days later, she said that she might have to feed some pigs. Most days, Michael and Heather kept Adrian locked in a shower behind a plywood door. In this photo you see that Heather posted to Facebook, you can see that shower. And I know to most people, they probably just thought construction, or you would never think that a young boy is being locked in a shower behind this plywood thing. This horrible torture did not stop there. It escalated and escalated. Michael had set up alarm systems on the refrigerator, the food cupboard, so that Adrian, if he ever tried to get food, they were notified, and they punished him for eating. He would try to get food out of the trash, dirt, food filled with bugs, but he was severely punished for it. He was forced to stand naked in the family's swimming pool with water up to his neck for hours. It was fall and that water was freezing. He was constantly shackled, handcuffed, tied, and beaten. Sometimes he was forced to sleep. Now, I am not going to show all of the pictures. There are pictures you can go and look at for yourself if you want to see them. I am posting ones that are important or that tell the story, but I am definitely not posting all that I have seen. These pictures are horrific. Eventually, 7-year-old Adrian Jones starved to death. Shortly before Adrian died, he became so weak that he could no longer hold himself up. And they wanted him to hold himself up in the shower, but he was just getting weaker. Michael and Heather strapped him to a chair in that shower to die. Tortured by his parents and isolated from the rest of the world, little Adrian died alone in that shower. After Adrian died, his parents left his body in that shower for 2 weeks. Then they went out and bought pigs and threw him in the pig pen to be eaten. This is how Adrian died, at the hands of people that were supposed to love him, care for him, and protect him. Michael Jones and Heather Jones were charged and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and were sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole till after 25 years. Heather Jones will be eligible for parole in 25 years. Michael Jones will be eligible for parole in 50 years. He will be 94 years when he could end up getting out. Here is what just makes me the maddest of all. After all this poor kid went through, all this abuse and really not justice, he had told CPS about all the abuse. In 2013, 2 years before his death, Adrian told the Children's Division employee and a police officer that his father kicked him in the back of the head so violently that a small bone came out. He is said to, quote, say, "My daddy keeps hitting me in the head and punches me in the stomach, and my mom keeps pulling on my ears. It really hurts. Mommy and daddy locked me in a room by myself. Mommy and daddy can't feed me." Other people, too, have been reported to have called. There has been 10 calls about abuse in this house, with an anonymous reporter calling and saying the mom beats the living daylights out of these kids for no reason. Another caller said that Heather had been beating Adrian and had choked him many times. Another caller said that Adrian was forced to eat from the trash. During one of their home visits, Adrian told them that he was forced to sleep outside and steal food from the trash can. When they visited him again, he told them that his father and stepmother were very mean to him and locked him in a closet at night for no reason. But no one did anything to help this boy. Because he was going from Missouri to Kansas, a lot of this CPS incidents basically went unnoticed, unreported, switched from state to state. As you know, if you live in Kansas City, we are a city divided into states. There is Kansas City, Kansas, there's Kansas City, Missouri. So it makes it very, very hard for cases like this. But there was a law passed in Adrian's honor to help try to kind of aid in that. It makes me very mad that Adrian's case could have been avoided, as well as many other cases. I really believe that our laws around child abuse are not strong enough, and especially around child abuse deaths. Parents need counseling and services that work around, like, work hours. They shouldn't have to pick between going to work and going to these classes that will help them be better parents. It's not enough just to say, if you see something, say something. This is just not working anymore. As I said, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. But this should be more than just saying, okay, awareness, we know it exists. This month should be focused on a way to prevent Adrian and from a lot of other children of having any mental or physical abuse to begin with. It should be focused on teaching and hopefully changing parents, because this is preventable. So I am sure you guys are all smart enough to know a lot of these signs of physical abuse, emotional abuse. We see them, we know them, but there are a lot of signs that kind of go under the radar. And when I was researching this case, I really wanted to put those things out there as well. So I'm not just saying all the information you know already. I believe that we need to really listen to our children. I mean, Adrian had said it over and over and over again, but there are a lot of kids that don't say it, but they show it in action. And I feel like our systems, our mandated reporters, our teachers, all of that, I think they should be educated on absolutely everything so that they can spot things. And really listening to the kids in your life makes a difference. You know them. You know if they change or something develops. So these are some signs that you may not know of emotional abuse. They tell you and they do everything wrong and their parents hate them. Acting out or withdrawing, not wanting to go home at the end of the day, wanting to run away, or extreme fear for no reason. Now, child neglect, and I wanted to point out that kids that come from a poorer household may not always get the things that other children do, and that is not neglect, but there is extreme cases of neglect, and here are some of the unknown signs of that. Not receiving medical care. Now, this is really important. Clothing that is maybe not appropriate for the weather. They beg or steal food products. Extreme weight loss. Extreme dirtiness or bugs to the point where they have an issue or they have a problem. These are things that can definitely be fixed, especially in poorer households. But if they're doing it because they don't like that child, that's a whole nother thing. And that happened in Adrian's case. I am sure the other kids had different clothing than Adrian, and that is definitely a sign that that kid is being abused. I don't know why, but sometimes in a family, one child is picked out and they abuse that child among all the others. Now, sexual assault in children is very hard to talk about, but it is something that very much happens. So here is some signs. Not wanting to sit down, blood on their clothing, inappropriate sexual behavior, sleeping disturbances like bedwetting or wearing a lot of clothes to bed. These could be signs. Physical abuse. Basically like having a hard time when adults are getting onto another child or a crying child. Constantly on alert for danger. They're very guarded and distrustful. Extreme hair loss or hair pulling. Any rope-like burns could be a sign of confinement. They're also cautious when asked about an injury, and they often look to their parent. Not all of these are signs of abuse, and there are many more signs to look out for, but these are ones that are not commonly said, and they're very important to look out for. Even if you do not work with kids or are a teacher or something like that, a mandated reporter, there are still children in your lives. You know, you still see friends' children or family members' children. And these are things that you can help with. And I think all of us need to be on guard. I mean, I have seen children being abused in public right there in front of you. And I think to myself, oh my goodness, if this is how they're treated right now, how are they being treated behind closed doors? And a lot of people are very apprehensive to report things. So I definitely think report. That is always the best method of helping these children, but there's also other ways that you can get involved in your community. And I think that doing these things can really make an impact. So I think one of the biggest things that we can do as a community is to teach good parenting habits from a young age. And parenting is so hard. Like, I know I have a child and there's no handbook, there's no guide. And a lot of times you have all these people telling you what to do and it just gets very foggy. But there are ways to parent your child in the way that they need. We as a community needs to understand there are ways of parenting that are not abusive or not the ways that we used to think of parenting. There are timeouts and quiet time, and this allows you to step away. This allows you to take a breath and collect yourself. Give your kids choices of 2 things that are good for you. Do you want to put your shoes on now? Or do you want to put your shoes on right before the door? Either way, they're getting their shoes on, but they have some control over the situation. This helps them feel a little bit more independent. There is such thing as having firm boundaries. You can set boundaries with your child, saying there will be no hitting, there will be no biting. And you follow through with consequences, but those consequences aren't abusive. Talk about their feelings and the feelings of others. This really instills compassion and empathy. Give yourself time. Like I said, parenting is really hard and it's not cut and dry, and you're doing a great job. So celebrate good times. I am by no means an expert. I did work with kids for a long time, but that does not make me an expert in parenting or with children. These are just some of my advice from what I have found. But going back to the child abuse, things that we can help to prevent that, definitely helping each other. Helping friends and families and people in your community. I mean, everyone deserves a break. It is hard. So be there to lighten the load. That way, that mother can deal with other challenges that they're going through. Let the parents in your world know that this is not easy and you are there for them. There's that old saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I definitely believe in that. I think you can do it alone, but it's very much easier when you have a community of people there for you. And definitely reach out and help your community. You can get involved in community legislation on things like child abuse. You can get involved in community programs and giving back to families in need. This can be as big as donating time and money, or as little as just voting, or helping your library get some parenting books or classes up and going. For information about volunteer opportunities, you can call 1-800-CHILDREN or contact your local Prevent Child Abuse America chapter. I will put all of this stuff below so that it's easy for you. Definitely always, always, always report. If you see something, say something. Do all these other things too, but definitely report. Even if you think that these are too small or that you don't have enough information, still report it because you don't know. Consider Adrian when you see something, and how many people could have saved him. If you think that you or someone you know is being abused, always call it in. If you think someone that you know might be abusing someone, you can do it anonymously, and that might be the key to help fixing an issue. Sometimes parents need a wake-up call or help, and they don't know how to do it. So reporting anonymously can help that child as well as that parent. This is about helping the helpless. So always remember Adrian when you see cases like this. I will put the child abuse hotline below so that you can report, and some other resources for child abuse prevention. I really think this comes back to the fact that we are not just true crime. We are not a community of just people who listen to podcasts and YouTube videos about murder. We have an impact. We can make a difference for kids like Adrian. And there's so many issues like this that we have a say in. Adrian's case is just one of very many, unfortunately. Definitely share Adrian's face and case. People need to see it. I know that it is triggering, but this helps get people information, get people help, and really spread the word on preventing child abuse. Adrian Jones had to go through so much in his young life, and I really want to make sure that his face and his name is used to do the right thing in a lot of cases, and that he kind of goes as an angel of sorts. He helps people. By the time you are seeing this, the podcast has already been out. I hope you guys like it. Hang in there. They're really good cases, but they get better and better and better as we go. So definitely check those out. Thank you for your support on this. It really means the world to me. Share Adrian's case, share some stuff about April being Child Abuse Awareness, and I will be back to tell another story next week. Thank you guys. Bye.
Those just, they get me because I have to know what happened.
Yes. Then the FBI guy could have been connected to the black market kind of thing, you know? You're gonna frustrate the heck out of me. I got so much excitement from listening to this case, and then I'm also trying to communicate all this stuff to you guys, and it's like, so.
Right. I really messed you up. I'm sorry.
It's like every time we kept naming stuff, I was like, he did it, he did it, he did it. And then it would be like, you know what, maybe he did. And then you would say something else. And it just keeps piling up. We'll see. I mean, even like as you're telling me this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, it was an accident. Maybe murdered. Oh, it was an accident. Murder. And so it's like,
I can't believe you just solved that case.
People are gonna be like, I love the show so much, and it fills me with emotion. It's like 1 week I'm happy, the other I'm sad, the other days I'm frustrated trying to figure stuff out.
For sure. My whole goal in life is to every week just blow people's minds. So
yep.
But there's people on both sides. There's people that really believe that he was murdered. There's people that really believe it was a tragic accident. Mm-hmm. And then there's me. I have no idea.
Negative K, nothing further, just kitty camp in the corner. Thank you, Sergeant check.
We've got a code 187.
Officers on the scene.
I just wanted to say I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like any of the content for Code 187, please click that subscribe button, that like button, that share button. Help us out, help us grow. You can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. Yeah, check us out on there. Give us some ratings. Tell us what you think. We're also across every social media on Code 187. So we're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think that's it. And of course YouTube. So please, please, please subscribe if you like our content and spread the word. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.